This isn't a place for poor people.
I was shocked when someone said this rude comment as I went to a fancy restaurant to celebrate my wife's birthday. Just then, the manager appeared and said,
"Hey, do you realize you won't be able to come into the office tomorrow?"
"My name is Justin. I'm married and work with cars. I often get work requests on the fly and frequently have to respond to emergencies. Today was supposed to be a special dinner at a fancy restaurant for my wife's birthday. But of course, that's when an urgent job came up. I wanted to rush back, but it was a job entrusted to me by an important client. By the time I finished, it was just about the time of our reservation. Normally, I'd want to change my clothes, but I'd be late. I sighed and decided to go straight to the restaurant in my work clothes. When I arrived at the fancy restaurant, it seemed my wife was already waiting in front of the restaurant. "Sorry to keep you waiting. Sorry for the way I look. I didn't have time to change."
That's okay. I'm sure the restaurant manager will understand.
My wife smiled warmly, forgiving my rudeness. As I was relaxing my shoulders, a man happened to walk by. It seemed he was also visiting the restaurant, and as he was opening the door and our eyes met, he looked suspicious and clicked his tongue. Then he walked brashly into the restaurant and declared loudly, "I'm Max. I have a reservation under my name. I'll be your guest again today." I didn't intend to listen, but I could overhear Max talking to the manager. It turns out Max is a banker and has used this restaurant several times. We were about to follow into the back of the restaurant, but for some reason, Max suddenly kicked my leg as we passed by. I thought it was an accident, but Max clearly glared at me and kicked my leg again.
Why is someone like you entering this fancy restaurant?
Max asked me that, but I was so surprised by the silliness that I couldn't answer. Noticing the commotion, the restaurant manager looked at us anxiously. At that moment, my wife quietly spoke up.
What do you mean by that?
I'm saying, why is someone in dirty clothes at such a nice place?
Max snapped at my wife fiercely, and I intervened, surprised. "Sorry, my work ran late, and I thought I wouldn't make the reservation, so I came without changing."
That's none of my business, and I don't care. Today is an important day for me. It's troublesome if there are unsightly customers like you here.
Max said vehemently, and then turned to the manager.
Right? It's troublesome for you too, right?
No, everyone is a valued customer.
No, it bothers me. If people like you eat here, it lowers the quality of the restaurant. It's disruptive to business. This isn't a place for poor people.
As I was completely baffled by someone saying this just because of the clothes, the manager apologized deeply.
"I'm very sorry."
See, even the manager is apologizing to me. Before you cause more trouble, why don't you just leave?
Max waved me away as if shooing a dog. But the manager raised his head and calmly said to Max,
"No, I was apologizing to Justin for your rude behavior, Max. Do you realize you won't be able to come into the office tomorrow?"
What? What are you talking about? There's no way that's true. Stop threatening me.
Max said this, but his eyes darted around, clearly flustered. And muttering complaints, he left us behind and walked away. The next day, my wife and I went to the bank to handle some paperwork. But as soon as we entered, a loud fuss greeted us.
Why isn't my employee ID working? Is the machine broken?
It was Max, whom we had encountered at the fancy restaurant the day before, causing a scene. His behavior was so extreme that other customers looked uneasy and restless. Seemingly unaware of the situation around him, Max looked around to see whom he could complain to.
It's not a show. Stop staring.
The next moment, Max noticed us and strode towards us. In a panic, his boss tried to stop him, but Max shook off his hand and glared at us.
You guys, why are you here?
Please move to the back since here are other customers around.
The boss said, and somehow, we ended up being taken to the back too. When we were led to a conference room at the back of the bank and had just sat down, Max said to us, "You were the poor guy who came to the restaurant in work clothes yesterday. What are you doing in a bank?" And kicked my chair with a thud. Ouch. What are you doing?
Playing the victim, huh? It's your fault for coming to my workplace.
Max kept hurling selfish insults at me.
It's your fault for coming to a fancy place in dirty clothes. Yesterday was an important business day for me. What were you going to do if you caused me to fail?
Your schedule has nothing to do with us. We too had an important event yesterday. It was my wife's birthday. I was angry and shot back, but Max just sneered.
A birthday? It's ridiculous to wear work clothes to a birthday party.
We had our reasons. We met you for the first time yesterday at that restaurant. So how could we know you had important business?
Still, it's rude to come to such an ambience in work clothes. Don't you understand that it makes other customers uncomfortable, even at your age? A poor old man like you is worthless.
Max's harsh words made my wife unable to stay silent any longer.
I've been listening, but how can you say such awful things to almost strangers? It's because of that attitude you're getting fired from the bank.
What are you talking about? I'm not getting fired. My employee ID isn't working because of a mishap or a machine error.
Max yelled at my wife, then started to direct his snide remarks at her again.
Having a poor and senseless husband must be tough. Because you're poor, you fantasize that I'm getting fired. If you're poor, then walk quietly on the edge of the road like poor people should. If you understand, then just go home. Being in the same air as you might make me poor too.
It's sad you can't see the good in people. We're neither poor nor struggling. You wouldn't understand my husband's qualities because you're selfish and rough.
As my wife firmly responded, Max's face turned red with anger.
No, you're the pitiful one. Yelling at others in a fit like that, you must be disliked by everyone.
Aren't you the one who's disliked? Since you only speak harshly, I bet no one likes you.
As things seemed to be getting out of hand, I tried to step between my wife and Max. Just then, hurried footsteps sounded from the corridor, and Max's boss burst into the conference room.
Max, this time I can't forgive you anymore. You're always performing poorly, and someone useless like you is fired.
The boss said this and pulled Max away from us. Max glared at his boss unhappily. I've been working hard for this bank. You know, my performance is going to improve. Why should I be fired? Even if you're my boss, you don't have the right to fire me. As Max declared this confidently, another figure followed the boss into the conference room.
You are the president. Why are you here?
It was the president of the bank. Seeing the top executive appear, Max's mouth opened and closed wordlessly.
Dad, you came.
My wife said happily as she ran to the president, and Max turned pale with shock.
Dad, what do you mean by that?
It means just that. The president of the bank is my father. Yesterday I told him about the rude behavior I received from you at the restaurant. I told him how you ruined my birthday celebration, and he came to see for himself.
No way. That can't be true.
Max slumped into his chair as if all strength had left him.
It sounds like you made quite a scene. Don't cause trouble in front of other customers.
Sir, it's because these people are being unreasonable.
You said your name was Max, right? Maybe it's your habit of quickly blaming others that's preventing you from achieving good performance.
Reprimanded directly by the president, Max's shoulders slumped. But the next moment, he dramatically clung to the president's feet and began to make an unbelievable plea.
I'm sorry. I've really been trying hard regarding my performance. I believe the results will show soon, so please, could you grant me some leniency?
Max's brazen plea made the boss urgently scold him.
Stop making such an unsightly display. It's disrespectful to the president.
Please just look at my sales next month.
As Max desperately pleaded, the president spoke calmly.
I can forgive your disrespectful behavior towards my daughter and my son-in-law, but I appreciate that you have the drive as an employee. I'll give you a 1-month reprieve regarding your termination. Is that all right?
Thank you so much. I will definitely meet your expectations and contribute my utmost for the future of the bank.
Max thanked him extravagantly, extending his gratitude repeatedly. However, my wife, who had been watching everything unfold, voiced her dissatisfaction.
Dad, are you really going to show mercy to such a disrespectful person? He was really horrible to both me and my husband.
But the one who responded to my wife's complaint was Max himself, who had just been begging.
That's because you two were the ones being unreasonable. It's unheard of and lacks common sense to visit a fancy restaurant in work clothes.
With that said, even though there was a reason for our attire, I found myself unable to respond. It seemed like Max was about to escape being fired when…
Max, didn't I say, do you realize you won't be able to come into the office tomorrow? It's because of the rude behavior you showed to Justin. That's why I warned you yesterday.
The one who appeared saying this was the manager of the fancy restaurant.
It's the manager of that restaurant. Why are you here? No matter, I'm not getting fired. I just received a 1-month reprieve from the president.
Max laughed loudly with confidence, but the manager walked past him and greeted to the president sincerely.
Sir, I apologize for the sudden introduction. I am the manager of the restaurant favored by Justin.
Nice to meet you. It seems my daughter and my son-in-law have been in your care. I apologize for the disturbance caused yesterday.
Not at all, don't worry. But I heard that Max's termination was postponed for a month.
As he spoke, the manager straightened up and looked directly into the president's eyes.
Max frequently uses our restaurant for entertaining. From him, I receive unreasonable demands every time, such as to prepare a private room within 30 minutes or to have certain brands of alcohol ready.
Exposed by the manager, Max still grinned without showing any remorse.
I'm bringing business to your restaurant because I use it, which surely helps attract new customers. I don't know why you're dissatisfied, but a mere restaurant manager shouldn't be acting so high and mighty.
But the manager ignored Max's words and addressed the president directly.
I've always wondered about this, but is it permissible to entertain in such a manner at a major bank like this? There are also money transfers involved.
Hey, you. What are you starting to say all of a sudden? You should understand that needs to be kept secret. How long have you been running a restaurant?
As soon as he heard the manager's accusation, Max jumped up and began to rampage. But at a signal from the president, he was restrained by his boss, gritting his teeth in frustration.
I indeed saw it. During an entertainment session, Max handed a thick envelope of money to another man.
Hey, that must be your misunderstanding. Don't talk nonsense or you'll regret it.
Max was so agitated he looked ready to leap at the manager, but other employees joined in and held him down.
No, it was no mistake. And it wasn't just once that I saw the envelope being passed. I always wondered what that was about.
Hey, you jerk. Remember this. I've been patronizing your restaurant, and you forget that favor. I won't use it anymore.
Rather, we no longer wish for you to use our establishment. You are no longer welcome at our restaurant.
Max was momentarily stunned by the firm words of the manager, and then began to furiously rage.
You suck. How dare you say that? Because of yesterday's entertainment, my sales should increase next month. Don't interfere.
Such language is not good. It was you, Max, who engaged in activities forbidden by the company. The manager consulted with me, which is why he was invited to this bank today.
Shut up, you poor thing. Go and pull weeds outside in your work clothes.
Max, with wide eyes, screamed at me as I cautioned him. However, after hearing the manager's accusations, the president looked pensive with a grave expression. Seeing this, the boss, while restraining Max, spoke up.
If that's true, you've violated the bank's rules. Such methods of improving performance are not acceptable.
You guys, are you trying to waste all my hard work?
You mean your efforts by entertaining guests at the manager's restaurant and bribing them, right? As I confirmed, Max shouted back at me, spitting as he yelled.
That's none of your business. There's a world of business that you poor people wouldn't understand. You, a low-income guy fixing cars in work clothes, wouldn't understand.
No, he runs a luxury car dealership. His annual income should be higher than yours, Max.
Stunned by the president's words, Max gaped at me.
This poor guy, a president? Unbelievable. He was in work clothes last night.
A president can still be out in the field. Presidents who stay cooped up in their offices all the time are outdated.
Encouraged by the president's support, I nodded. I'll do whatever I can when there's a need. It's natural to help each other out when times are tough.
Because he thinks of his employees and customers. My husband's company is thriving. People like you, who can't improve performance on merit and resort to forbidden actions, wouldn't understand. Could you please stop underestimating my husband?
Next to me, my wife also calmly criticized Max. I started the company because I loved cars, and whenever possible, I worked on them myself. Max, panting heavily and with his face turning red, retorted,
I didn't know you were the president. Anyway, if I achieve results in a month, I won't be fired, right, sir?
No, I'm withdrawing the 1-month reprieve.
What?
Stunned by the president's declaration, Max froze.
I was willing to believe in your enthusiasm until just now. But knowing the numerous violations you've committed, I cannot condone your actions any longer.
No, that's not right. This isn't what we agreed on.
Max wriggled free from his restraints and desperately clung to the president's feet. But the president, looking down at Max with anger-filled eyes, declared calmly,
We don't need to give more chances to someone like Max, who has betrayed our trust and tarnished the bank's name.
Please, sir, my performance will improve next month.
Improving performance through dishonest means is meaningless. We will thoroughly investigate your past actions within the bank.
Is it right for someone like you, sir, to break a promise once made?
Cornered, Max began to lash out at the president. The colleagues and boss hurried to pull him away, but escaping their grasp, Max continued to argue.
It can't be like this, right? It's unacceptable for a professional to go back on their word so easily.
How dare you speak to me like that?
Even usually mild-mannered, the president's anger made everyone present, including me, flinch. Yet Max continued to bawl like a child and kept criticizing the president.
But you said it, sir. You gave me a 1-month reprieve.
People like you are just a nuisance to this bank. Get out now. Right here, right now. You're fired.
I'm fired.
Max stood there stunned, unable to move. Why don't you just give up? It's unpleasant and unbearable to watch.
It's your fault. If you hadn't come to the restaurant yesterday.
That's exactly what I want to say to you. If you hadn't committed fraud, none of us would be in this unpleasant situation. The exit is that way. As I pointed to the exit, Max finally began to shuffle away. He glared at me as he left, but staggered off without saying anything. With the troublemaker gone, my wife, the president, and the other bank employees all seemed visibly relieved. Ultimately, I felt a bit guilty for having pushed Max out, but I also felt relieved. Afterward, Max was sued by the bank and had to pay for his crimes. He ended up using all his savings and still took on debt. Even after resigning, he couldn't find a new job and now hops from one day labor job to another, struggling to pay off his massive debt and working exhaustively from dawn till dusk. At this rate, it doesn't look like he'll be visiting any fancy restaurants anytime soon. Meanwhile, I continued to manage my company while still making appearances in the field. Thanks to that, our clientele and sales have been steadily increasing. To celebrate this and a year after the incident, I took my wife out again for her birthday at that fancy restaurant. This time, we enjoyed our meal without any trouble from difficult customers like Max.